Hey everyone, welcome to part 3 of my 4-part video series where I document my growth as a small YouTube creator over my first year of growth. In part 1 I talk about my numeric growth, subscriber count, video views, things like that. And in part 2 I talk about the monetization process. The links to those videos are in the description below. I highly recommend that you go check those out before watching this video. In this video I'm going to be talking about the mistakes that I made along the way and some other general YouTube channel advice. Equipment. Falling down the camera rabbit hole, as I call it. So if you don't know anything about cameras and you haven't used a camera before, researching that kind of thing on YouTube leads to filmmaking channels. So if you're just doing a DIY or cooking or craft or repair kind of video showing, people how to do something, kind of like this, or even vlogging for that matter, you don't need a cinematic camera. Most of your audience isn't going to notice what your frame rate is at. They're not going to notice your video resolution. That's all stuff that doesn't matter. It really doesn't. As I said, when I started out with a Canon Vixia HF R700. That thing sucks in low light. So I then upgraded to a better camera that I had no idea how to use. The nice thing about the Canon Vixia was that I would just point it, turn it on, and it was ready to go. This thing that I'm filming on right now, I had to learn how to use it. I had to learn different interchangeable lenses, things like that. So, really your channel can be done, if it's this kind of channel where you're talking about tech and showing products or reviews or whatever, you can probably get by with a GoPro or your phone. I filmed a couple of videos with my phone, and what I noticed was it overheats. So there are a lot of things to take into account when you choose your camera, but don't fall down that camera rabbit hole, and recognize a filmmaking channel as opposed to, the kind of cameras that these guys are talking about are these kinds of cameras are the spaceships of video production. If they're doing a lot of like slow motion shots and stuff that looks like what you'd see in a movie, then they know what they're talking about, but take what they're saying with a grain of salt, because it's one thing to have that kind of camera. It's another thing to know how to use it. And if you want to just basically like get up and going, you don't need a top-end camera. You can basically start with something used off of eBay and go from there, and and maybe you'll find out that doing YouTube videos isn't for you. It's best not to invest a bunch of money into something like that. So my best advice for a camera: get something that takes the picture, shows it clearly. Whatever's behind the camera doesn't matter. Point it at what you want to inform your audience over, and get it in focus and hit record. That's really it. Unless you're specifically focusing on a filmmaking channel or video production channel, that kind of thing, at which point you know what kind of camera you want and you know all of the things and what you need to talk about. But as far as like if you're doing, say, like a tutorial set of videos like this, or crafting or cooking or anything like that, just about any camera on the market today is going to be fine for what you want to do. And yeah, just work with that. Now, when it comes to equipment, prioritize in this order: audio number 1, lighting number 2, camera number 3. Like I said, the camera that I started out with was a Vixia HF R700, not a low light beast. So what did I do? I ran out and bought another camera. Well, I should have bought lighting instead, because the I found that I still, even with this camera, needed to buy lighting to supplement that. And the lighting that I'm using I bought 4 of these things. I've got one here, one over there, and one here that I set behind me. And they get the job done pretty well. So that's it for part 3. Keep on the lookout for part 4, where I'll be talking about the things that I did right along the way. If you enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. And consider subscribing. That's it for now, and I'll see you next time.